Hello, welcome back. In this video, we're going to learn about inner classes. Inner classes are those situations where you create a class inside another class. They're also called nested classes. Let's go ahead and create a new class. We will name it again, let's say employee. Hit finish. Now let's say you want to create an object called name, right? You want to create a private name object, and let's say the name is going to be another class, which is a combination of first name, middle name, and last name, right? Now you can obviously define them separately here, but let's say you wanted to create an object so that you can have just one variable to access all those names. You can obviously create this name class outside, but let's say you don't want anybody to be using the name class, right? You just want everybody to be using the employee class, not the name class at all. So you want to define the name class, but you want to make it invisible to others, right? To do that, you can define the class within the employee class so that only employee can access that name, nobody else can, right? Let's see how to do that. Let's go ahead and create or start typing private class name. And inside that, let's say, as you can see, as soon as we created it, the error went away because now Java knows what name we are talking about. Now inside this, you can say private string first name, private string middle name, and then private string last name. So we can also define constructors. You can say public name. Um, you can say string first name, string middle name, and string last name. We can even assign that then. So this dot first name equals first name. This dot middle name equals middle name, and this dot last name equals last name, right? So what we have created is a class inside a class, and this is basically the nested class concept. And we're doing it because we want only employee to have access to this name, nobody else, right? Let's just go ahead and create a test. We'll just go to right click and new class. Let's call it employee, let's say inner test. We'll create our main method. And inside that, let's say we want to do employee emp equals new employee. That's fine, no errors, right? Let's try to find name. If you use control space, you're seeing several names because name is a very common class type, but they are in different packages, right? You don't see the com.java2.section 5 at all because name is an inner class. We can never directly create an object for it. Now, how would we define this then? So we can create an employee constructor, right? Let's just make it public employee constructor, and let's say this is going to be taking string first name, string middle name, and then string last name. Now once we do that, we have to create a new object for the inner class. So for that you would say, let's try to type name here and see what we get. So we obviously can't see name here, com.java2.section5.employee, because employee has the name defined. So you can say name, or we can say this dot name equals new name of. That's it. So we have a constructor here for employee, and from there we are calling the constructor of the inner class to instantiate it. So this way only employee has access to the name class and only employee can use it, nobody else can. And here we can say John A. Appleseed. So nothing's going to run, but we can just nothing's going to display rather. We can run it, it will run just fine. So there are no errors. That's basically the concept of inner classes, where you're basically defining something inside to restrict access to it. That's one, and also make it more concise. You don't have to create another class, third class name just to be able to use it in employee. You can just define it inside. So if somebody is looking through your code, they can look at what's defined. They can see the name is an inner class, and they can see the definition right inside here. So it also improves the readability of it, and make the programs more concise. So that's basically the inner classes. You can obviously define other methods to get the names, and you can use it at the employee level, right? But another thing to remember is if we were to make this public, now we know public gives much wider access than private, right? So if you have it public, now you can create instances of this outside. Let's see how to do it, right? Now it's public. Since public is much wider than private, whatever we have here to pass constructor, make this private, is that still makes sense. But what this enables you is to what making this public enables you is to create objects for employee outside. And let's see how to do it. Again, we cannot just say name equals, let's say name equals new name. Let's say Mark A. Johnson. Let's see what it says. No enclosing instance of type employee is available. So what this means is you cannot create an instance of an inner class without somehow referencing an instance of the outer class. In other words, since name is defined inside employee, you can never access name directly. You will have to go through employee to access it. Now to do it, the syntax is a little strange, but here's what you could do. emp dot. Now the error is gone because you can, that's what the error says. Let me go ahead and remove this and let's look at the error again. It says no enclosing instance of type employee is accessible, right? So you have to give an instance of employee to be able to access name. If you just say emp dot, then you're talking about a specific instance of employee, and then you're creating the name object, right? And you can also do this, and it's actually good practice to do this. You need to say employee.name, then you know that you're talking about, or anybody looking at your code, or even you looking at the code later would know that, okay, we're talking about the name inner class, right, that is inside employee. So if you make something, if you make your inner class public, this is how you can create instances directly, by using the outer class and outer class's instance. And that's basically inner class. So that's how the public and private kind of controls how the behavior is. It's it's usually a standard practice to make an inner class private so that its access is restricted from outside. But there might be situations where you want to make it public, so you can instantiate the inner class also somewhere. So that's basically inner class. It definitely helps in a very concise code, creating a concise code. And when you code a lot of programs, you would automatically start seeing situations where you would want to make a class inner class. So that's why understanding this concept is important, so that when you have that type of situation, you would know Java has a method, or Java has a way for you to implement that. So that's basically inner classes. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.